So we got a new discovery. It's in park. Parental says reverse. And so does the taillights. Well, here we are. We're inside this Thunderbird, and I guess that's an E. That's the prindle for what gear it's in. I guess right now it's an E. Oh, probably for air, because I'll tell you, here's why. So right now we're in park. Oh, by the way, yeah, she revs up. However, we got to figure out what's going on with this transmission and as far as the range. So, like I said, it's in park. Here's reverse. In fact, now the prindle's not even really showing it. Oh, there it goes. Now we're in reverse. I just felt it too. That's supposed to be neutral, and it says D5. Here's drive, and you felt it lurch. Go down one more, that's 4. So, let's see, there's second, it's third, fourth, back to 1. That's weird. I'm just doing this, I'm trying to go forward in gears. Come back out and go back. So that's supposed to be drive. There's neutral, which is kind of acting funny about. Still shows as being drive. Here's reverse. See, it went into R that time. And then there's park. But park says D5. I'll get this back zoomed out here a little bit. See, we're in park. And then it shows E, so I assume it's for an error. But of course I got the door shut right now, otherwise I would try and drive it out. But we got some other issues to take care of, but so far that throttle position sensor definitely took care of some things, so, which is good news. We just have to soldier on with some other issues. And I'm trying to make heads and tails out of this transmission range as far as what's being said here on the prindle, even from like the last time I was videoing the throttle position sensor. So what I did is from the wire diagram, I kind of wrote out, as far as park, reverse, neutral, and drive, and as far as how the switches would be open or closed. For example, then the X's would be that it's a closed switch. So in park, it should have 1, 2, 3, and 4 as closed. In reverse, they should have 1 and 2 that are closed, and then 3 and 4 would be open. Neutral, 1 will be closed, 2 open, 3 open, 4 closed. Drive, they all should be open. So, testing on the scope, and from down below, that's where I had this tied in at, is on the range sensor down below at the transmission. Everything that you see right now, the blue is high, which would be, I'll actually pull it up here. So the blue would be switch 2. And when it's high like that, that means it's open. And you can see on here, it says that 2 is open, indeed. 3 is open as well, which 3 should be, that'd be my yellow. And actually it is, because it has a resistor on there, so it's not, it's not really going all the way up to the 12 volt, or actually 13, whatever it is I got right now. I got a maintainer on it. So the voltage is just, it's a little lower. It's just not 0, basically. So, so that's correct. And you can see that, it'll all change when you go. And so right now I'm in park. In park, they're all basically closed switches. Reverse, you got your 1 and 2, they're closed, so 3 and 4 would go up, which would be the yellow and the red. And neutral should be the blue and yellow, which it is, and then drive. Drive will be pretty much all of them. When you go to 4, then your green and yellow will drop to 0. So anyways, with that being said, then the next thing is watching what the computer says it sees. And for prime example of it, see right now I'm in neutral. So as neutral, it should be 1 and 4 is closed. Well, you see that 4 is not. It is not closed. And that's probably why I'm still seeing D5 on the Prindle. Even though we're in neutral. Yeah. And then, let's see. So when I go to D5, you see they're all open, which, you know, it should. Okay. And then when we go to 4, 4 is still 2 and 4 are open. Which I'm going to have to look back on that one, but I believe that's supposed to have been open as well anyways. So anyways, the confusing factor of neutral, 4 is still open, and it should not be. It should be a closed switch. And then same with park. When you go to park, 4 is still saying it's open. So even though I'm in park, right now it says it's in reverse, or it thinks it is. I did have it at one time, and then see, it goes to D5. Reverse. Yeah, so now it's just stuck in reverse, and it's in park. All switches are closed, like it's supposed to be, and yet we got that as an open. So, where do we go from here? We know the range sensor works. So is there an open in that wire? I'm gonna go through all the movements, and I don't see switch 4 ever closing. So, got a bad wire there somewhere. Guess that's the next thing I have to check. And the real fun part is they have the computer for this thing, the wiring and everything, way down underneath there. Yeah, so it's practically impossible to really get to the thing. So unless I manage, I have to look and see, but unless I can pull that wheel liner out of there, maybe access it that way. But otherwise, that could be a real pain to get to just to prove it out, because you know the range sensor itself is fine. So far the computer has come back to life. It's working like it's supposed to, but now I'm dealing with this with the transmission, and you know, not ever seeing that thing change on switch 4 tells me that that's the problem. Open, 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 open. That ain't doing nothing. So there we go. So we got a new discovery. It's in park. Prindle says reverse. And so does the taillights. So that really kind of shows the fact that the poor computer is a little confused on what the heck's going on there. Especially, you know, when you see, it even says it's in transition. It has no idea. So there we go. Just something else. So here's the transmission range sensor, and decided to tie into it to physically actually test the ohm reading on the thing. And so I pulled it out of park, and there you go, 270 ohm. So that is correct, and it is it's what it's supposed to be. So at least now we know that that range is correct on that. From there, we just got to finish troubleshooting up towards the computer. Okay, due to the accessibility of the engine computer, it's way down inside there. We attempted to try and get the computer out to where it's pulled inside to access it, but it's just, there's not enough harness here. That's being held up through the firewall. So this is the best we can do so far with it. Pierce the actual wire itself that should be the range switch 4, which is the problem wire. It's the one that stays open the entire time. What range 4 does, it is the white with the red. So in park and in neutral, it'll be a closed switch, which would pull it to ground. And then in reverse and in drive, it should go up high as an actual open. And where we're at right now is tied in right there. We already know that the range switch itself actually works, and at this particular point that I'm at right now, okay, go ahead and go for neutral, no, reverse. When you go reverse, you can see it pulls the voltage high. So the switch is working, and the wiring is good from there to right here. Now, from this point, somewhere down further in there to the connector of the actual computer, to maybe even the computer itself, that's where we still need to finish diagnosing it to determine whether, you know, it's wiring or is it connection or is it computer. It's just hasn't been very accessible or user friendly to be able to prove this one out. But you can see on the data that it's still, you know, it's in an open. Go ahead and put it back in reverse.
We're in reverse. We need neutral.
Oh, neutral, I mean? Yep. So when you go to neutral, in neutral should be a closed switch, and it should be ground. And it is. So, anyways, that's where we're at. We're going to have to finish trying to figure this one out. Either might have to disconnect everything from the computer and try and see if we can drag the wiring inside. It's got 3 connectors on it, and one of the connectors is attached down at the frame, so I can't pull the harness up here to plug the computer in to finish testing the thing out. So it's being complicated, but one way or another we'll get something figured out. So we got the computer out of there, and look at that. She's already been a reman computer in there. In fact, you can see that top one. Looks like it was February 6th of 2018 that this thing had been done. So got it out of there, fished the harness out where it's down below here now, so we dragged them all out. We'll plug the computer back in and we'll back probe from there and see what we got. So we got a 2003 Ford Thunderbird with a 3.9 V8. And this is a remanned computer already from, well, as you saw from the sticker. I figured out by the part number it's from Cardone. But my question and concern of, one, the transmission, one of the range switches will always stay open. It will never select. And I've traced it all the way up to the connector itself, and the range sensor does work. It's just the computer doesn't register anything as far as on scan data. But the thing I found was kind of odd is that this freaking thing is like bowed, and my worries and concerns is that when they obviously took it apart, because it's like sticky glued on both ends, that they pried it or whatever. I don't know the case itself, but the case is kind of bent. And you put that screw in there, it sucks the board down. And I'm worried that it might have broke the trace on the other side of the board, which may explain the transmission. The other issue I'm dealing with is it puts out a bunch of codes for the throttle pedal position voltages, which is odd because when you watch it on the scan data, it shows that the voltage is there, it's correct, you know, as far as processed data, and it coincides perfectly with what I see with the oscilloscope at the pedal as well as up here at the board. So there's no discrepancy as far as voltages. But when this thing is cold, the engine will run like crap. It goes into limp mode. You can't accelerate, can't do nothing. But if I take this board or the whole computer and I sit in front of the heater to where it's at least 65 degrees, it'll work perfectly fine. The engine runs great. No codes to it other than the transmission range sensor, which is always there. But I have to get this board down to where it's like about 45 degrees in order to have the problem happen again. So I got you an update here on the T-Bird. It is up and running. Got the new computer in there. You can see it's running. Anyways, I'm having some other issues now, and I got a second key program, so I had to in order to even get the new PCM program to it with the PAT security system and such. But okay, so Top Don just finished, and we got our typical P1000, which is the same, and the only code that does come up is for the air conditioning. Switched during self-test. Switched on during self-test. Oh. I'm gonna have to look that code up, because here's the thing. I had this on and running. I don't know. I guess it's on auto, so it's quite possible it might have actually cycled on. In fact, look, the AC is on. So it's possible this thing does not have any other issues or problems. So I'll have to just clear it and, you know, put things back together, and I guess do a little test drive and see how it does. So but anyways, I guess that's it for now. So she's up and moving and running. We got her up to about 50 mile an hour, and it's shifted through all gears like it's supposed to. So that's a good sign. Everything's doing good here. It's a little vibrating right now, just probably because it's been sitting for a while. Cold tires. I'll get it out here on the street, and we'll open up a little bit. Put this on pause until then. Okay. Yeah, she's doing pretty good. Transmission still needs to do some learn yet. Other than that, it seems to do pretty good. So, feeling more confident with it, that's for sure. Got one more turn up here in the street, and we'll open it up again and see what it does. Yep, seems to be good. It's gonna have a little bit of learning yet, but it'll be fine. And you're gonna need gas. I already dumped like 3 gallons into it, brought it up to where the light wasn't on, but that didn't last very long. So here's our turn. We are done. So time for you to come get the chicken.